Hi all. Today, let us start with our module 3. In this module, we are going to have a discussion about overview and channel structure of LTE. The topics which are there in this particular module are in the part 1 of the module are Introduction to LTE, channel structure of LTE, downlink OFDMA radio resource, uplink SCFDMA radio resource, and the downlink transport channel processing. In that we have these particular topics. Now let us see the acronyms which we are going to use in this particular module. Do remember these acronyms. Okay, already it has been discussed in the module 1 itself, but just for your convenience it has been displayed over here. Now coming to the overview of the LTE radio interface. Radio interface means it is interface between mobile terminal and the base station or your user equipment and the third generation partnership project divides the whole LTE network into uh, two entities. One is a radio access network which involves 3GPP focusing on development of UTRA. UTRA means Universal Terrestrial Radio Access, and a core network which is Evolved Packet Core focuses on the core network evolution with flatter all IP packet based architecture. This is the radio access network between the user equipment and the eNode B, and this is our internet and packet data transfer network, you can say. The complete packet system consisting of LTE and EPC is called Evolved Packet System or EPS. So both together we call it as EPS. LTE is also referred to as Evolved UMTS Terrestrial Radio Access or EUTRA. RN of LTE is also referred to as Evolved UMTS Terrestrial Radio Access Network or EUTRAN. Now let us move on to the overview of the LTE radio interface, where we'll discuss the difference between radio interface architecture of UTRAN and evolved UTRAN. In UTRAN, it was used in 3G networks or 3G communication, and this is our 4G communication. What you can see the difference is here eNode Bs are connected and radio network control. Radio network control is inherently implemented into eNode B or evolved node B base station. So that is the difference. Two difference. One RNC is absent, another one is eNode Bs are connected. And what is the use of this? eNode B supports the additional features such as radio resource control, admission control, mobility management. eNode B structure simplifies the network operation, allows for higher throughput, lower latency over the radio interface. The LTE radio interface has high throughput of packet switch services, high speed data services, low latency, sophisticated quality of service architecture. These are the basic features of LTE radio interface. How it is different from your 3G interface or 3G network. Now let us understand the design principles of LTE. Following are the basic design principles. We'll go through these one by one. First one is network architecture of LTE. Second one, data rate and latency. Third one, performance requirement, which is based on four factors: that is space, spectrum efficiency, mobility, coverage, and MBMS service. Fourth one, radio resource management. Fifth one, deployment scenario and coexistence with 3G. Sixth one, flexibility of spectrum and deployment. Seventh one is interoperability with 3G and 2G networks. Let us see one by one. First one is network architecture. As we know, LTE network architecture is considered to be a flat network architecture which also supports the packet switch traffic. And LTE radio access network EUTRAN is designed to have the minimum number of interfaces, support for traffic belonging to all the QoS classes, that might be voice streaming or real-time data transfer, non-real-time data transfer, and background classes of operation. Okay, that's about network architecture. Second one is data rate and latency. When operating at the 20 megahertz peak data rate, okay, this is one of the channel in LTE. From 1.4 megahertz to 20 megahertz, there are different bands have been allocated for LTE. In that, if you are operating at 20 megahertz, the peak data rate will be downlink, that is for downloading, it will be 100 Mbps. For uplink, it will be 50 Mbps. The latency in the user plane, it will be 5 milliseconds. If only single user equipment is present in a cell, it should have been cell, okay. And in the control plane, transition time from camped state, that is if the network is already busy, then from camped state to an active state, less than 100 milliseconds. And the second one, in the control plane, transition time between a dormant state, means inactive state to active state, should be less than 50 milliseconds. This is about data rate and latency of LTE design. Next one is performance requirements. The performance requirements are specified in terms of spectrum efficiency. The spectrum, how efficiently the spectrum can be utilized in LTE, which is 3 to 4 times that of high-speed downlink packet access of 3G network. As compared to the 3G network, 3 to 4 times high in downlink, more efficient. For uplink, it is around 2 to 3 times of high-speed uplink packet access network. And the cell edge throughput should be 2 to 3 times that of high-speed downlink packet access and high-speed uplink packet access. So this is about spectrum efficiency, how comparatively when the 4G or LTE network is efficient, 2 to 3 times or 3 to 4 times it is efficient in every other area. Next is mobility. Mobility means when you move from one place to another place with say you are moving on bike, your call should not cut, correct. You will be talking with your friend, but you want the signal strength will be same throughout your conversation, correct. For that is called as mobility. When your user equipment is in mobility, what should be the performance of the network, okay. So it supports the mobility of different mobile terminal speeds, maximum performance at lower speeds of 0 to 15 km per hour, okay. If you are traveling with very less velocity, then performance will be better. Degradation in performance at higher mobile speeds up to 120 km per hour, correct. When you go with a higher speed, degradation in the performance occurs. And expected to sustain a connection for mobile speeds up to 350 km per hour, but with degradation in the system performance. And next one is coverage area. Good performance should be met up to 5 kilometers. If you have a base station here in a circumference of 5 kilometers, you will be having good coverage or performance will be good. Slight degradation up to 5 to 30 kilometers. And the coverage performance again depends on user mobility. If you are moving, then coverage will be the performance will be different. MBMS, that is, uh, it has to provide enhanced support for the multimedia broadcast and multicast service. Multimedia broadcast and multicast service is nothing but this example only we can talk. That is, we used to have video conferences, correct? The faculty used to give lecture, then it will be multimedia broadcast. When students are allowed to communicate, they are allowed to share the details of whatever they have done, or any answer for the question, then it will be multicast service. Okay. Fourth one is radio resource management, or RRM. The requirements of this radio resource management are enhanced support for end-to-end quality of service, efficient support for transmission of higher layers, support for load sharing and balancing, policy management or enforcement across different access technologies. So these are the requirements of RRM. Radio resource is what? The spectrum, how it can be allocated to different user, and how the services can be provided on the given spectrum. Okay. And if many users are there, then how the load of radio resource can be shared between different users. Okay. Bandwidth allocation for different users, that is that has to be taken care by this particular entity. Fifth one is deployment scenario and coexistence with 3G. It has to support the following two scenarios. One is standalone deployment scenario, wherein you will not be having any existing 2G or 3G networks or 4G networks. You want to implement it at the first time itself. Okay. Then it is standalone deployment scenario, and LT has to provide this. Second one is integrating with existing UTRAN and or GRAN deployment scenario. Already in the network particular area, consider your village. Already there is 2G, 3G network is there. You have to implement LT. Including 2G and 3G, you will be able to provide the service of 4G as well. That is integrating with existing network. Sixth one is flexibility of spectrum and deployment. Operable under wide variety of spectrum scenarios, the LTE must be able to coexist and share spectrum with existing 3G technologies. It has a scalable bandwidth from 1.4 megahertz to 20 megahertz, as already it has been discussed. Operate in both frequency division duplexing and time division duplexing modes. Okay. These are the flexibility of spectrum and deployment opportunities given by LTE. And the last one is interoperability with 3G and 2G network. Multimode LTE terminals are there in LTE network, which support UTRAN and or GRAN operation with acceptable terminal complexity and network performance. You can see in evolved UTRAN, this diagram, this is user equipment, this is your base station, this is the gateway, switching gateway, okay, and peer entity. This is about the internet component. They all are connected. This EPC, EUTRAN and internet, these are not only supporting 4G network, they are able to support 3G as well as 2G network.